Episode 1, Garage Mechanics. Welcome to the first real installment of the Black Cube tutorial series, where we will be talking about specific mechanics and focusing on explaining them thoroughly. First up is a quick overview of the hotkeys within the garage, with two additional keystrokes that aren't as apparent when you first start playing the game. The first of those being that clicking down middle mouse allows you to copy whatever cube that the crosshairs are currently on. The second is that holding control and clicking on the purchase option in the store puts 10 of the items into your shopping carts, so you may buy a mass amount of cubes. Next up is to explain the nuances of the tech tree. The star graphic around a number represents the tier that must be played to unlock the item. In this example, we would need to be using a tier 7 robot to generate the required 58 tech points to unlock the wheel. There is one other important piece of information that is largely not evident on the tech tree, which is the orange hexagon. This represents the size of the item on your robot by telling us this item is not increased in displacement from the previous tier, and only holds better stats. Conversely, if one is lacking it, it will generally be increasing by about a half a tile size than the previous. Now to the more interesting content, as it may largely affect how you build your robots in the future. Each block in Robocraft has 4 vital statistics that differentiate the tiers, although their block functionality will always remain constant, i.e., wings will always act as wings, no matter what tier they are, and will only become better at performing the same function. First, there is mass. Although not listed on some items like plasma cannons, every item has mass and can largely affect how our robots move, especially when using flight. Second, CPU load, or PFLOPs I like to affectionately call them, are a statistic that limits the amount of blocks that can be placed on a single robot. As we level by winning and destroying other robots, our CPU limit will increase, and we'll be able to in turn increase the size of our robot. Many items are more expensive on our CPU load, like electro shields or movement items. A final, albeit important note, is that items become more CPU efficient for their output as they become higher tier. The balance of that efficiency is that higher tier blocks gain a third vital stat called robot rating at an accelerating rate with their tier. This means that we are able to save CPU by over-tiering a block, but it may push us to a higher tier robot. As a side note, the tier of your robot and its progress can be viewed by a small bar at the bottom of your screen, which has a blue highlighted section for displaying the current tier it's occupying. Finally is armor. In this case, it's essentially how much damage can be inflicted to the block until it becomes destroyed and sheds the remaining damage to its neighbors. But more on that mechanic later. Well, I hope to see you again for the next installment, where we will be covering the different types of weapons, their mechanics, and gun placement on the robot.